Joining me now for some fun and frivolity, poking fun at Lefties Losing It, is broadcaster and commentator Oli London. Oli, we've been marvelling at the meltdown from the left. You'd think that after 2016 they'd learned to cope better with disappointment, but here we are. Let's start with this clip from Rosie O'Donnell.
We're in for one hell of a ride with him at the helm and no immunity guardrails. And how about we get rid of the Electoral College? Does that, anybody like that? Anyone? I'm not so sure anymore. It's a popular vote. That's what we need to do. Who gets the most votes wins. One vote, one person. No racist math in the equation.
Oli, who's going to tell her that Donald Trump won the popular vote, biggest popular vote by a Republican ever? And how exactly is the Electoral College racist?
Well, Rosie O'Donnell has a classic case of Trump-derangement syndrome. She's always saying she's never going to speak about Trump again, but she just can't help herself going on 10-minute TikTok rants. Now she's making her TikTok account private. She's made a brand new account so Trump fans can't see her videos. And, you know, Trump won by a landslide with both, like you said, the popular vote and the Electoral College vote. So she clearly needs to study the system and also to see that he won by an absolute landslide with 312 Electoral College votes and at least 5 million more votes than Kamala in terms of the popular vote. So, you know, but people with Trump derangement syndrome, they can't seem to see the facts, Rita. They just see their rage for Trump.
Now, let's have a look at this next dude who identifies as a dudette. And he's got some advice for the ladies in light of this election result.
Hey, my fellow ladies out there. So men think they own you. Take it from somebody that used to be a man. You got boobs. You got a vajayjay. Guess what, honey? You own them. Trust me, they want it. Make them earn it.
That's more than a little creepy, Oli. I'll get your comment after this next clip. This is another white dude for Kamala who says Trump winning is not going to stop him from going into women's locker rooms.
For the rest of you who voted for a convicted felon, same goes for you. I go where I please. I use the women's restroom, I use the women's locker rooms, and I will continue to do so, whether you like it or not.
Oli, the excesses of the trans agenda certainly were an issue during this election. Of course, the border, the economy were the top line issues, but it's very clear that culture war issues, if you want to call them that, particularly the trans agenda, were enormously significant, not just for Trump's traditional base, but for a lot of independent voters that opted for Trump this time round.
Yeah, this is one of the key issues with this election. You know, Trump has vowed to ban biological males in women's sports. He's also said he's going to do a federal ban on children being medically transitioned, so anyone under the age of 18. So clearly these white dudes for Harris aren't taking this very well. And, you know, they're saying they're standing with women regarding abortion rights, but these aren't actual women. You know, they believe they're women. They feel they're entitled to use women's restrooms. Well, they've got another thing coming on January 20th when Trump takes charge, because he's going to make sure that women feel safe in their spaces and that biological males aren't invading his spaces, but also said that Trump is a great ally of LGBT people. You know, he's a great friend with Caitlyn Jenner. He's very much supportive of people, however they identify. You know, he judges them based on merit, based on who they are as a person, but he's not going to allow men into women's spaces and to have children transitioning. So that's a key Trump policy, and I think that was one of the main reasons why many women and also parents felt the need to vote for Trump.
Now, Joy Reid, she's an MSNBC anchor, a regular in Lefties Losing It. She's now attacking self-loathing lefty white women, the only people who actually watch her show.
I just want to give some free advice to the white progressives, particularly white progressive women who may be thinking about marching against the Trump victory, maybe putting back on the P-word hats and doing that thing. I would just say probably don't send any of those invites to any black women you know. I'm just going to tell you right now, they're not coming. I think black women are now on the Save Black Women, Prioritize Black Men, and prioritize black communities, black businesses, and the black spaces, but Save America, Save the Democratic Party. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
What do you make of that, Oli? Some of these race-obsessed commentators, the ones on CNN, MSNBC, number of other networks, they just will not let go of this identity politics. No matter how divisive, destructive it is, they cling to it and they're doubling down.
Well, let's just say there's nothing joyful about Joy Reid. She is one of MSNBC's biggest race baiters. And, she's always going on about race when, people don't generally look at race. People judge people based on character, based on who they are as a person, So she's trying to divide people. She's trying to divide her progressive viewers. And, she needs to cling on to those viewers because her ratings are down over 50%. MSNBC is struggling. They just beat CNN with the election coverage, just over 5 million viewers, which is considerably down from 2016 and 2020. So she needs to hang on to those voters and those viewers. And she's already alienating people with this race baiting. And, there's just no need for it because there are genuine concerns for the black community in America, but it doesn't help when you have someone like Joy Reid constantly race baiting, making everything about race. And people don't look at people based on race. People just judge people based on who they are as a person.
Well, there is an issue. Joy Reid does represent a certain demographic, you have to say. Yes, you're right. Her audience has absolutely plummeted by more than 50%. But I don't know what it is, but you look at how all those demographics are shifting and people are thinking more freely, so they're not feeling obliged to vote a certain way just because of their ethnicity or their gender. But when it comes to black women, only 7% went Republican. That is a voter bloc that has been unshakable. So I guess she's speaking to that demographic. Now let's have a look at this hateful girl, a little bit weird, a little bit hateful, and she seems to have some delusions of grandeur.
I'm so excited for and I fully support this movement of making mainly men's lives, but really anyone who voted for Trump's lives miserable. I'm really enjoying all this content about tormenting them, so keep it up.
And this next gal is she's a conformist sheep, but she thinks she's a rebel. Sorry, love, but having lots of piercings and metal in your face doesn't make you a rebel.
Let me be very, very clear when I say this. If you are an alternative person, punk, goth, however you classify yourself in the alternative community, and you support Trump, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Oli, in the modern age, the rebels are the conservatives. Every institution now, from government bodies to the corporate world to academia to Hollywood, media, is dominated by the left. The rebels are on the right.
Yeah, absolutely. The free speech advocates, the people that are happy to have a debate and discussion are now the conservatives. They've become the cool kids. And I think that's a big shift we've seen with Trump during this election. It actually became cool for Generation Z to support Trump, whereas in 2016, it was kind of taboo because you'd be labeled racist, you'd be labeled xenophobic. But now, actually, we've seen huge numbers of young people come out, and Generation X as well have been huge supporters of Trump. So we've seen that shift, and the liberal Karens are having an absolute meltdown. And these are the people that don't like debate, Rita. They don't want to have a sensible discussion. And one of their key issues was abortion rights. And now many of them are going on strike. They're shaving their hair, saying, men aren't allowed to go near them. And,
wow.
I just think it's complete delusion.
I don't think too many men mind. I don't think too many men mind. Let's just end with this last clip. This genius has a cunning plan to stop Trump's second term.
Okay, so we could actually stop DJT from becoming elected because they would be accused of very serious crimes such as treason and perhaps colluding with a foreign entity, things like that. It's highly unlikely that they would move forward with Inauguration Day.
I want someone to save that cat, that poor kitty having to listen to all that. Oli London, we're right out of time. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
Thanks. A pleasure, Rita.